Death has done nothing to weaken Bloodraven's combat skills. If anything, she's more deadly than ever.
This is the story of the Sisters' Burial Ground and the quest's original appearance in Diablo 2. Upon clearing the Den of Evil in the Bloodmoor, the quest then can be activated by talking to Kasha in the rogue encampment, who says,
"My rogue scouts have just reported an abomination in the monastery graveyard. Apparently, Andariel is not content to take only our living. Bloodraven, one of our finest captains in the battle against Diablo at Tristram, was also one of the first to be corrupted by Andariel. Now you'll find her in the monastery graveyard, raising our dead as zombies. We cannot abide this defilement. If you are truly our ally, you will help us destroy her."
What an intensely grim thought. Andariel, the demoness responsible for corrupting the rogue's finest, and to add further insult to injury, forcing the now demonically influenced Bloodraven to, in turn, raise and corrupt the dead, amassing her own undead army of followers. After initiating the quest, we seek out further guidance from the townsfolk on this once esteemed Bloodraven, starting with Akara.
Bloodraven fought valiantly against Diablo in the catacombs beneath Tristram. She was never quite the same afterwards. It is now obvious that she brought an evil influence back with her.
What foul treachery is this? Does Diablo's corruption know no bounds? First, we learn of the warrior's corruption due to his containing of the Soul Stone during the events of Diablo 1. But it seems the rogue who was present with him carries her own taint. Heading to Chazi, the blacksmith, for further insight, she confirms.
Bloodraven was the leader of a rogue band that once fought Diablo at Tristram.
This is indeed a sad fate. We are a paltry 2 quests deep in Diablo 2 and the story pulls no punches. However, if I may take an aside, a fun fact to share is the rogue is actually voiced by Glynis Tolkien Campbell,
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
who also provided the voice for Jillian the Barmaid in Diablo 1 and our very own Kasha in Diablo 2, plus many more.
Good day. How may I serve you?
After digesting this grisly news, we visit Geed, the merchant, who says,
I'm sorry, the undead are bad for trade. I have a strict no-return policy.
Although I'm sure Geed was just looking for a cheeky pun about people returning, I wouldn't put it past the sleazy merchant being half serious about his rigid no-return policy. As we make our way out of the camp, we momentarily stop by Wariv, who poses,
How can one kill what is already dead?
And unfortunately, although a philosophical question in nature, it is also a question we will have to put into physical application. Leaving the safety of the encampment, we head to the monastery graveyard, located just off the cold plains as per Kasha's instructions. When entering the burial grounds, we see our quest update with one directive: kill Bloodraven. Once there, we start noticing a large quantity of undead, and we want to make sure to take care of these skeletons, zombies, and any errant hungry dead found at the edges of the burial grounds outside the cemetery gates, in case we start to become overwhelmed by undead, as Bloodraven will surely raise them once more. This will ensure that there will be fewer creatures to try and surround and attack us while we try and take on Bloodraven in the center of the cemetery. But before we try our direct attack, it's also of note that the area has a crypt and mausoleum that are both worth checking out for that extra experience for low-level characters. The mausoleum is largely identical to the crypt. They are both of equal size, contain same monsters, and have the same area level, and both contain a single gold chest. The one difference is that the mausoleum contains no super unique guarding the chest. Instead, a regular unique monster guards it. After looting said chest, we can head over to the crypt, where there is also a golden chest within said crypt that is guarded by a single super unique Bonebreaker. Heading back out into the burial ground, it seems Bloodraven has been busy. Before we hunt her down and she can find fresh victims to resurrect for her ever-growing army of the undead, as Diablo 2 boasts early return dialogue for its quests, which we shall take full advantage of, as well as taking a rest and selling some of our gear. Portaling back to the rogue encampment, we speak to Akara, who says,
If you fail to destroy Bloodraven, I fear that our order will perish forever.
It's a sentiment we share, as no doubt the camp would be overrun before soon, and Chari praises Akara's foresight, stating,
Akara felt something was wrong even before Andariel descended upon us. She feared that Bloodraven had stumbled upon some evil force beneath Tristram. I wish we had acted then.
Would the rogues have fell victim if they acted sooner? It seems like a lesser evil is no mild threat. Geed, on the other hand, has more pressing concerns.
I wonder if that old gossip Melra is among the undead. Oh, she had dirt on everybody.
Again with the double entendre, as the zombies are unearthed, and this Melra reportedly had dirt on everyone. Maybe also Geed and his sacred scepter? Kasha, ever the grounded pragmatist, says,
Each moment you delay adds another undead sister to Bloodraven's army.
And we take our leave before swinging by an unusually somber Warriv, who tells us,
When the dead return to prey upon the living, it is a terror beyond understanding.
Terror, it seems, has gripped even the most stoic of the rogues. Our thoughts and attention turn back to poor Bloodraven, and we head back to the burial grounds for our unenviable confrontation and duty to put her to rest. When we enter the burial ground once more, Bloodraven gleefully announces,
My army will destroy you.
And we see her girt by a gaggle of zombies. Bloodraven's arrows, as foul as Andariel, are laced with a particularly nasty poison. And for some immediate damage, she also boasts fire-laced arrows too. Attempting to quell the uprising of dead, we first focus our attention on the newly risen before we are overwhelmed. We spy they're gathered near an unholy display of hanging rogues on a tree. After being peppered with arrows unceremoniously and staving off our own death and inevitable undead return, we manage to fell most of the zombies for now and focus solely on Bloodraven. As it is quite apparent, she will deftly raise a cheeky zombie or two left unchecked and fill the graveyard given enough time. Hacking away at Bloodraven, she finally falls in a massive display of lightning which bursts forth from her body in an awesome arcs licking through the graveyard and that wipes out the remaining zombies attached to her very essence. We then see it is actually Bloodraven, her soul in her true rogue form being released from her fleshy, demonic prison. Exhaustedly, we then exclaim,
Sisters, there was no other way.
We then head back to town to let the townsfolk know of this tragic, inevitable outcome.
Andariel must be made to pay for her sacrilege.
We know in our hearts what Akara says is true, but if this is Bloodraven's reward for her service, taking on Diablo, the Lord of Terror, we cannot help but ponder our own fate when we cross the demoness Andariel. Chazi, banging away at a forge, states,
Kasha wishes to reward you for your defeat of Bloodraven. I thank you too, even though Bloodraven was once my friend.
And it's hammered home that Bloodraven wasn't just a hero to these people, but a comrade and a friend. Although, does Geed feel the same way?
Some of those gals weren't so nice the first time around.
Predictably flippant as ever, Geed shows his hand that his company or even advances were not so welcomed by the fairer sex in the rogue encampment. We finally speak to Kasha for a reward, and she says,
I can hardly believe that you've defeated Bloodraven. Though she was once my closest friend, I pray that her tortured spirit remains banished forever. You have earned my respect, stranger, and the allegiance of the rogues. I have placed several of my best warriors at your disposal.
We have now gained the respect of Kasha. Although she lost her dearest friend, she gifts us the ability to hire her rogues to fight alongside us. And one named Paige joins us in the battle. Meanwhile, Warriv then congratulates us and says,
You've done well, stranger. I hope all your efforts are worth it.
His concern is not lost on us, nor the irony that we hunt a lesser evil and that now we too have a rogue companion by our side, like the warrior of old. One thing is clear, no matter how courageous or great the deed, we are not safe from the burning hell's taint. No one is. But there have been strange rumors floating around the camp about a missing sage that could help us further on our journey named Deckard Cain. I should speak to Akara immediately about this. That's it for the tragic story of Bloodraven and the sisters in the burial ground. But what do you think about this quest? Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with my upcoming lore videos out weekdays at 7 PM PST. And if you want to further the conversation, my social accounts are linked and I'd love to chat as we have a brand new Discord to celebrate lore and we'll be running a Diablo 4 guild in which all are welcome. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Traveler.